Thank you everyone for coming tonight. My name is Haney Williams, and we're going to talk about founding patriots of the American Revolution. Do you already know that you have one? Okay, a few people do. Okay, well hopefully we'll get some good ideas tonight and you can go home and start looking online and finding a lot of patriots. So the beautiful picture here of the field of flags, the Jackson-Madison Chapter Daughters of the American Revolution. We have had a field of flags in downtown Jackson since 2006. The year of 2020, we didn't have one that year because of COVID. So this year will be the 20th year for us to have a field. And past 2 years, we moved it from downtown and it's at the Liberty Garden Parks. So be sure to go there to see it this year. We usually have it out right after Memorial Day and through July 4th. And each flag represents a different patriot. So if you have a patriot and you would like to have a flag on the field for your patriot, it's $35 and we keep it every year. You don't have to pay again the next year. Your patriot would just still be there. And we have a little marker stuck in the ground, like, you know, a little cemetery marker that has the patriot's name on it and the state or the colony that he served in. In probably 1966, my family got this in the mail. And this is a family tree from Charles Austin and Phoebe Ellen Woodward. They were the first settlers into Scotts Hill. And Gordon Turner was writing a book about Scotts Hill. And so he sent this to all the descendants of the Austin family, and there are a lot of us. So you can see that Charles and Phoebe Ellen's name is on the trunk of the tree, and then each branch going out is a different child, and then that has some of their children listed. We were so excited when this came in the mail because I'd never seen a family tree before, and I thought it was wonderful. And her name was Phoebe Ellen. My sister and I thought that was so pretty. We were going to have daughters and name them Phoebe Ellen. So we were excited when this came. So Mr. Turner worked on that book for 10 years or longer, and it was finally published in 1977. My sister, my parents, and I went to Scotts Hill, and we bought 3 books from him, and you can see he signed it for us. So we're excited about that book. Then when we got home and started reading through it, the exciting thing was that there were articles about 2 of our ancestors who were in the American Revolution. So Phoebe Ellen Woodward's father, Jordan Woodward, was a Revolutionary War soldier. That's what Gordon Turner had in the book, was a Revolutionary War soldier. So that was exciting. And then also, it says, old Daniel Murphy fought in the latter part of the Revolutionary War. Well, he was my Patriot ancestor too. So I have proven both of them through the Daughters of the American Revolution. I always like to thank the people that gave me information. So there's Gordon Turner in the upper left corner, and he was my second cousin 2 times removed. And he also descended from Jordan and Christopher Woodward. Jordan's father, Christopher, is also considered as a patriot, and we'll talk a little bit more about him later. And then the lady in the upper right corner, she was from North Carolina, and she did research on the Woodwards, and she had a really nice website online that I found. And that, through her website, connected me to the lady in the lower left column. She was from Texas. The lady in the lower column is my 4th cousin, 2 times removed, and she's also a Woodward cousin. So by all of those people working together, we each helped each other with information because Miss McAtee in the bottom corner, she was trying to prove DAR, trying to prove that she was related to Jordan and Christopher. She never could get it proven. Finally, here, the ladies who were helping me, we were able to use Mr. Turner's book to prove our lineage to him, and so Miss McAtee was able then to finally prove her lineage to the Woodwards. So we all worked together. The lady in the lower right corner, I'm related to her through my mother's line. The others were through my daddy. So Miss Wales in the lower column, she was 90-something years old, and I found her research on Ancestry. She had worked all her life on this research, and she finally posted it on Ancestry, and I found it, and how exciting that was. So by finding her, that connected me with another patriot. So try to find the older generations, and I know now we are the older generation, most of us in here. So try to find cousins, anybody that can help you with information. So the Daughters of the American Revolution website is a really good place for you to start researching, dar.org. And you want to choose the GRS, the Genealogical Research System. And then when you get to that site, there are different tabs you want to go to. There are ancestor, member, and descendants. On the descendants tab, you would want to put in somebody like your grandmother or your grandfather, somebody that you think might have descended from a patriot, that maybe somebody had proven lineage to that patriot, and then their descendants are in the website. You can also search by ancestors. So if you wanted to put in the last name, like you put in Jackson, and you started looking at all the Jacksons that are in there to see if you can find a patriot that might be yours. You can add other information too. You can put the state where they lived, where they might have served. So this is my page on Jordan Woodward, and it tells us that he was born in North Carolina. He died in Anson County, North Carolina. He resided in Wake County when he was serving, and that just shows you some of the names of the children, and the national numbers are listed there. That represents our number. So where I have the red star, that's my DAR number. They don't show our names for the members nor our next two generations for privacy reasons. So my parents and my grandparents' names would not show under my number. So this shows you that I have proven lineage to 5 patriots. Mary Collins, she let the American troops use her pasture, so she's considered a patriot. So a patriot is not just somebody who served as a soldier, and you'll see a slide in a few minutes about all the different things that people might have done that would be considered patriotic service. So Mary Collins, Jesse Hodges, Daniel Murphy, Christopher Woodward, and Jordan Woodward are the patriots that I've proven so far. And those are my 5 different ones that shows you the different things that they have done and where they lived, where they were born and where they died. Okay, this is the breakdown on Mary Collins. It shows you that Generation 9, she was Generation 9. She is my 6th great grandparent. And then her son-in-law, Jesse Hodges, served in the American Revolution. So I've proven both of them. And then the next generation down, Jesse's son, James Hodges, was in the War of 1812. And he drowned in the Cumberland River while he was serving in the War of 1812. And then his son, Jeremiah Hodges, was in the Civil War. Okay, so Mr. Bemis, his ancestor served as a private in the American Revolutionary War. So Judson Moss Bemis's great-grandfather was a private in the American Revolution. So it was Judson Moss Bemis and his father, Stephen Bemis, and then the next generation was Stephen Bemis Sr., and then the patriot was Zacchaeus Bemis. Okay, this tells us where the different service that was accepted as a patriot. Military service and civil service, patriotic service. There's so many different things here. Members of the Boston Tea Party, doctors and nurses who rendered aid to the wounded, and ministers. Sometimes a person would be serving in the military, and then for some reason he maybe couldn't finish out his term. He would find somebody else to serve for him. So the substitute would be considered patriot too. Prisoners of war, prisoners on the British ship, Old Jersey, or other prison ships. So many different things there. my ancestor Christopher Woodward, he had provided pork and bacon. He actually sold pork and bacon to the American troops, but that was patriotic service. He didn't have to do that. And these are the vouchers that North Carolina has on file that Christopher Woodward had provided those items for the troops. And then this is where he is in the website. 184 pounds of neat pork and 134.5 pounds of bacon. These are other patriots that I'm trying to prove. I'm trying to get information on them, and it's so much you have to get together because, like, I would have to prove my birth and my parents and my grandparents, so you have to go from yourself all the way to that patriot. You have to have documents to connect yourself to the next generation. So these are the ones that I'm trying to get next. Our local chapter, we have a website and we have our patriots listed. So on this website we have 161 patriots listed.
Is that Ancestry.com or the DAR website?
That one is actually just our website, and I don't think oh yeah, I do have it's tntndar.org, and then I can send you the website, the link to the website. I have a page that if y'all will email me, and I'll be glad to send it to you. It has the links on it, and all you have to do is click on it. You're going to see a slide in a minute that has all that information. So this particular website right here is just my chapter and our patriots listed. And then these are all of our patriots, and I know you can't see their names, but it was just interesting to me to see all their names there together. And then these are patriots that had some kind of contact during their lives with Madison County. Either they lived here for a while or they died here. I don't know if you might recognize any of those names. I know Jonas Clark, he lived on the highway toward Lexington, and his grave has been marked by the Sons of the American Revolution. So you never know when you're just driving through Madison County that you might be passing a grave of a Revolutionary War soldier. So in my neighborhood, just 2 miles from my house, Dr. Richard Fenner is buried in a little grove of trees on Brown's Church Road. It's on private property, but I did go on that private property before I knew I shouldn't. And I took pictures, and it was so nice, and it was pleasant. And then I went back on Memorial Day weekend, and things had started growing up, and it wasn't so pleasant. And I thought I was going to be eaten alive by a snake for sure. So I haven't been back, but it's very nice there. The property is actually owned by the Morgan family. So you know Sandra Morgan Williams, she lives very close to that. And her cousin takes care of this property. Okay, this is an exciting website, I think. The Tennessee State Library and Archives, Patriot Pass. You can click on the Patriot's name there on the left side, and it will show you the line that where the person lived and where they moved to next, and the next place they went. And if you keep clicking on all of them, and if you want to see all of them, then boom, there all of them are. But if you click on a name, it's going to give you more information about that particular person. And if you zoom in on one of them to find out like where they lived or where they were born or something, then you might be able to get more information on that particular area. You can always join a Facebook group or genealogy society in that area to learn more about that area and find more patriots. The Sons of the American Revolution have a nice website too. They have a part of their site that has their members' names on it, their descendant search and member search and patriot search. Okay, this is where my brother is a member of the SAR, and he joined through Jesse Hodges, so that's just showing Jesse Hodges, and my brother and the other men that have joined through Jesse Hodges. And Connie Knox is a nice lady who has a channel on YouTube, Genealogy TV. Her name is Connie Knox, and she has some really good videos that she posts. It's free to see her videos, but she also does have something else there that you can pay to get extra handouts and things that she has. So I always thought it would be so nice to be related to somebody like her, that they do all this wonderful genealogy, and so then she for free, it would share information. And so she posted one day talking about her ancestor, and she was talking about the Winslow family. So she's related to my husband, who's sitting right there, so which is a Winslow descendant. And so I thought, well, at least she's kind of in the family. And she did have some information that was interesting. Okay, and you've got to really look this one up. This is an exciting website, I think. It's pension statements and rosters. And you can click on the letter of the last name that you're wanting to look for, and then you see all of these names that transcribed by Will Graves, these pension statements. So if you find your ancestor or somebody that you think you might be related to, it's going to have so much information. For example, this is what's listed for Jordan Woodward. It will tell where he was born. It's like he sat down and talked to someone about his life. And then here it is. He tells where he went, where he served, everything that happened. And you'll usually find their signature too. It's just the rest of his, where they're asking questions, where and then what year were you born, and do they have a family record, and they'll usually say they had a family Bible and who they gave it to, or things like that. My Christopher Woodward from Wake County, he had a mill and a store. And so in 2024, one of the ladies that I showed you earlier that I said was helping with the research, she had done so much research with the Woodwards, and then she worked to get this historical marker placed in the neighborhood where he had lived. And then the little marker at the bottom is just showing the marker that we have with our flags, the field flags. And then on the right side, that is from Decatur County, and my Daniel Murphy lived in Decatur County for a while, and his name is on the marker there at the Decatur County Courthouse. On the left is the marker at Jonas Clark's grave, and on the right is one of my patriots, Moses Cox in Georgia. He actually served in the American Revolution and the War of 1812. And at the bottom, my DAR chapter marked the grave of Benjamin Toller in Gibson County a couple of years ago. There are also pension rolls of 1835, so you might find somebody that was in the American Revolution or the War of 1812. And you can find these on Ancestry. It does cost to have a subscription to Ancestry, but there are so many other things that are free that you can research. This particular sheet here is for Tennessee. And I think these are mainly people who were wounded during the American Revolution that are on this page. So this is the sheet that you would fill out on Ancestry if there was this particular name that you were looking for. And that's just showing you some more of the names. Madison County. I have it in red. It's so small here. I'm sorry, I can't read it to you. Google Books, I think, is a very interesting website. If you go to Google Books and just put in any name, I put in my brother's name because he writes books or he helps people. He provides information to people who are writing military books. And so I found his name in some of these books. I found one of my ancestors in a book, and it described how he looked. that was really neat. He sounded like a big burly guy with red hair. I just thought he was interesting. And now, the Tennessee route. So Emily, you're welcome to say whatever you want to about this. When I presented this program in November, I had this slide here, but when I look at it again today, it had changed. So they've been working on it. And what I was interested in was the historical newspapers and fold 3. Because I didn't want to pay to have fold 3, and y'all have that, so I'll let you say something about that in just 1 second. Today I looked at the newspapers, the historic newspapers that they had listed there. So you just have to log in. If you need to have your library card number. If you don't have one, can they get one online?
I think you have to go in person.
Okay. So you get your number and then you put it into this website. That gets you into fold 3 or newspapers, or if you click on resources on that first page that I showed you, then it will get you to this other information. So today I thought, I'll just look for my own name. So I searched for Kathy Haney to start with. So look what I found. I found a picture of Butch and me when we were getting married. Because it gives you the option, it shows you on that top page, you can see where it highlighted anybody they found that was Kathy Haney. And they're probably not all me. There are a lot of other Kathy Haneys out there. So I just clicked on mine just to have it on this slide for tonight. So look for yourself, look for your parents. Newspapers.com and all these old newspapers are so interesting. You can find things about your parents and your grandparents that you never knew. Your great-grandparents. It's really interesting. Okay, so fold 3. Emily, anything you'd like to say about anything on that Tennessee room? Okay. So fold 3 I think is interesting because I looked for my Moses Cox that I mentioned just a minute ago and found information on him. Of course, they have a lot of different books in the Tennessee room too. These were by Jonathan Smith, who was just wonderful. And the Daughters of the American Revolution, the Tennessee Society, published a book 2 years ago, and all the daughters across Tennessee, if we wanted to write a story about one of our patriots, we did that. And so I have 2 stories in the book. And the artwork in the book is beautiful. David Wright is a wonderful artist in Tennessee, and it's just wonderful. And they have a copy of the book in the Tennessee room. These are just some books that people from Scotts Hill, Henderson County wrote that I have copies of that have been helpful. I think one of those I found it on eBay. And I wrote articles for a while for the Jackson Sun, and so I wrote one about the American Revolutionary veterans in West Tennessee. All the old newspapers, you can find a lot of old articles here. So just get on there and start searching. Have you taken a DNA test? Okay, good. Well, through the DNA test, if you start contacting some of the people that you match with and try to share information and get information from them. I have an ancestor, the last name is Redwine, and I wanted to know about those red ones. Well, I did not match with a red one, but my mother matched with one. And I emailed the lady, and this man replied back, said he was managing her account, and he gave me information, and I gave him some information, and it was just wonderful. And he said he needed to move on and help some other people with something else, and that was all he could do to help me, but he had helped me so much. And he said, good luck with those red ones. And I need it, because there are a lot of them, but it's been wonderful, just wonderful. And that Miss Melba that I said earlier, that she posted all of her information on the ancestry, it included the red wines, and so it was wonderful. So, take your test. My mother matched with David Mayo, so we don't know how we're related, but we know we're related. And So when you test with Ancestry, they have through lines, and if you go to look at the through lines and see who matched with the same ancestor that you have, and then you start trying to send them a message and compare notes. So I was trying to research Isaac Taylor and just trying to connect with the different people, and you just have to get creative. You look for them on Facebook or wherever you can. Do a Google search for them. You can find a lot that way just doing a Google search. And this is the sheet with most all of this information I've been talking about with all these websites. So I'll be glad to send it to everybody, and then you can just click on it and open up some of those links and get busy. The National Archives has a lot of information. And I think they want volunteers to help transcribe some things. And then on Facebook, of course, you can find a lot of good Facebook groups that you can share information. On Find a Grave, I have a group that I started with the Patriots, so some of the members of our chapter. Military indexes. They have a lot of different things here, like Sons of American Revolution, and all of these are where you can click on them and open up these sites and find a lot of good information. Militaryindexes.com. A lot of the different states, just like the one that I showed y'all earlier about Tennessee with the Patriot Pass. Sometimes the other states might have something like that too. Because here, most of our patriots came from North Carolina and Virginia. Most of us in this area, that's where ours came from. So you might want to start with those states, but then look to see where they kind of came through. Because I have one family that was in North Carolina, and then they went to Alabama and Mississippi, and they just kind of made a loop around. See, this is one for North Carolina where they have different, they have generals or colonels and dates, things, the different battles in that area. The Bureau of Land Management, I think it's a very interesting website. Not every state has information on here, but Mississippi has information, so my red ones live there. And I was able to find my ancestors, my William Redwine and his son Jesse, and then I clicked on one of those, which took me to the actual document with Jesse Redwine's name on it. And I didn't know what his middle name was until I finally found that document. And start using artificial intelligence. Do Google searches. When you go to Google and you're searching for anything, it's artificial intelligence helping you find something. You write a paragraph on something, depending on what kind of word app you have, artificial intelligence is going to come up and say, they're glad to help you. So, by going to Google search and just saying, how do I find my Revolutionary War ancestor? Here's all this information came up. So I pretty much already had my presentation made. When I finally did that, it's like, dang, all we had to do was a Google search and find everything we needed to know right there. Because see, look, it's all that information. Tells you where to find pension files and different things. And Family Search. Family Search has gotten so much better. There's so much information there, and it's free. So go in and set up your Family Search file. And they have the big tree that everybody works on. So make sure that you're in the tree. Make sure your parents and your grandparents are in the tree. They probably already are, but you want to connect to that tree, because then you can start connecting with other people, relatives that you're going to find there. So like this is one of the trees, part of my family and one of the trees. So I was working on the Isaac Taylor, and then that's a lady that had also matched with him. And so according to the tree, this has nothing to do with DNA, this is just the tree. You can see where she and I matched on that, where it takes you up to where we have the common ancestor. So this is like my fifth cousin once removed, and how we might be related. This is my actual tree, part of it on Ancestry. On the first Tuesday of every month, the DAR chapter has a genealogy workshop at the library at 4 o'clock, from 4 to 6. It's casual, it's come and go, it's in the boardroom. You just go in and there will be a couple of DAR ladies there to help you with your research. On Family Search, there is an app that I think this would be fun if everybody would participate and do this. If you would put the Family Search app on your phone before you come to Bemis Day, you download the app on your smartphone, then you open the app, in the lower right corner, you see where I have that red star down at the bottom on that second section of information. So you select more, that's what's down in that corner, more. And then you select relatives around me. So when we're all here for Bemis Day, let's say at 12 o'clock, we all get our phones out, we do that app, because everybody has to be on the app, and you have to be in the app at the same time. And so it's going to tell you other people close enough around you that you might be related to. We did that at the Genealogy Society meeting in November, and it was the most fun, because at first it didn't work. We're thinking, because we've been emailing about it, making sure everybody was ready for it. So then we all got our phones and we all got in the app, and it's like nothing was happening. But it was just taking it a while. So finally it started working, and we just started laughing, going, okay, well, we're related, and then it was hysterical, but it was so much fun. So y'all do that.
Do you have to have location open on your phone?
You just open that app, and it will automatically start finding people. If you're in the tree, you need to have put yourself in the tree first, because it's going to start looking for people in the tree to see how you connect.
Yeah.
So if you and I both happen to have a 10th great grandparent shared one, then it's going to be looking for us. It's going to look through the tree. It's going to find me and find you, and then just look to see who we're related to. Does that make sense? Okay. So it's really fun. And that was the end. Thank you. Do you have questions?
Questions?
There are so many questions, you can't think of which one to ask for me. I've worked some, but it's been a long time, I just gave up, I guess. But I'm back to 18 or something like that. But I've never tried to go into the wars and things to see if any of them were in any of this. So that's interesting.